Hello, welcome to the Anfield Review podcast. I'm Owen James. This is your Liverpool news update, guys. We've obviously got a few things to cover in this video. A bit of team news ahead of the West Ham game, with some bad news again on the injury front. It really appears that there is some sort of curse on Liverpool and injuries this season. Champions League draw as well obviously has been made. Interesting, obviously, on that one. And we've got some bits and takes on the very bizarre interview that was given by Arne Slot to Viaplay as well. Look, we'll start with the injury news that comes out of Arne Slot's press conference today. Jeremy Frimpong is fit to return against West Ham, as has been advertised pretty much all week on this channel and on a number of others as well, that Jeremy Frimpong would be back for the West Ham game. Certainly gives Arne some options there at right back and on the right side of midfield as well. Possibly Joe Gomez been fit as well, so it's nice for him to have two right backs to possibly pick from. Hopefully that means no more of this ridiculousness of playing Dom Szoboszlai as a right back. However, I do think that with this Jeremy Frimpong situation, given the hamstring injuries that he's had this season, Liverpool will need to be careful with him in this game, how they use him. Whether that's he plays for an hour or he comes off the bench, I don't know. But I think there will be some need there to protect him to some degree in this game. Maybe he does 45 and Joe Gomez does 45. Great way to protect both of them. Or maybe Arne wants to push him further up the field and play him as more offensive position. I don't know. Look, this is options, especially given the appallingly bad form of Mo Salah. The bad news, though, to come out of the press conference, though, was that Florian Wirtz is out, despite the fact that, when the back injury occurred with Florian, it was not thought to be serious. However, Arne has confirmed today that he is out. This is what Arne Slot said. He says, "I don't expect Florian to be available, so that's a disappointment. Of course, every time a player is not available, it's a disappointment, and it's also something I didn't expect after last week, but that's sometimes how things can evolve, and unfortunately this time not in a positive way." He was asked about the time frame for a Florian Wirtz return. He said this: "No, at this moment of time, no. And usually when I say that, I do know, but I don't want to share it. But on now, I honestly don't know." So worrying news about Florian Wirtz. Could this be a long-term injury? Could this be something where he is missing for a long period of time? Now, the worrying thing is that Liverpool had seemingly started to play a lot through Wirtz, and Wirtz had become kind of the fulcrum of all we did well in terms of attacking football, and the performance against Brighton, the performances where we'd looked better in recent weeks had been down to that improved form of Florian Wirtz. Now, the fact that Florian Wirtz is out does kind of mean that there is a concern about the creativity. We certainly saw in that Forest game a complete lack of creativity, a complete, I don't know, just a missing of Florian Wirtz. So is this a situation that is worrying going into this West Ham game? Of course it is. Not having someone like Wirtz available. There's a number, obviously, now of our attacking talents out. Isak out, Wirtz out. We're missing players. Salah's in dreadful form. Gakpo couldn't hit a cow's arse with a banjo. It is not great. So missing Florian Wirtz is pretty huge for Liverpool. And, this is going to sort of look at, I think, in this situation where those other players on the team are really going to have to step up and provide the creativity that is missing with Florian Wirtz being out. And hopefully this is not a long-term injury, despite Arne Slot saying that he has no idea on recovery times for the German. Very, very worrying indeed. Obviously, you might have seen we did do a live video for it. It's on the channel. Check it out. Liverpool have been drawn against Galatasaray in the Champions League last 16. My thoughts, for what it's worth, I think this is the best tie of the two. I'd rather face Galatasaray than Atleti. I think Atleti are the more dangerous team. Galatasaray, yes, at home are scary. Yes, are difficult to play at home. But get them back to Anfield under the lights and I think they crumble. I don't think they are the same team away from home. And certainly we saw in Turin the other night where, yes, Juve went 3-0 up and eventually did go out of the Champions League, but for a situation in the 95th minute where they could have realistically scored a fourth, Juve could have been the team going through. Gala do concede a lot of goals. Yes, they have got some very talented players. Yes, they have got some very good players, but I still think there is enough talent in this Liverpool team to beat a Galatasaray team. Like I said, keep it close away in Istanbul, possibly a draw, even a narrow defeat, bring them back to Anfield, and I think that's a tie Liverpool will easily win and easily progress to the next level. Guys, give me your thoughts on the Champions League draw, of course. Arne Slot did speak to Viaplay gave an interview, which some of the comments that have come out of the interview are very, very bizarre. This was one of them. He says, "We have improved a lot compared to 3 to 4 months ago." I disagree. Though I have to say, I didn't even think it was that bad 3 to 4 months ago, which you kind of question what he's thinking here, because Arne, it was bad. The football was dreadful. Now, I know that one thing that FSG are not going to assess his future on is the quality of the football. It is assessed purely on results, and football is a results business. And I hear the argument that no football team in the Premier League this season is playing what you would call good football. Even the Man Cities and the Arsenals are playing pretty appallingly bad football. But the results after that initial start to the season were bad. The run into Christmas wasn't great. So I think Arne is perhaps trying to kind of sow a narrative here with what he's saying that is not wholly accurate. Have we improved a lot? Well, we've improved, yes, but I would dispute whether that is a lot going into this stage of the season. I think we are a better side, don't get me wrong, but I don't think we are a hugely better side than the one that was playing pre-Christmas. So I don't really agree fundamentally with what Arne Slot is saying here, and maybe this is trying to sow a narrative to persuade people that he has a future at this club. I don't know, but certainly the rumours that came out the other day and were reported on other channels about contract being offered to Slot, certainly to me worries me. I would not be offering this man a new contract under any circumstances unless he was to win the Champions League, for example. That is the only situation where I would even ever think of giving this man a new deal. He also said this, which is interesting. He said, from the 450 million that we spent, I've only been able to use 250 million. Alexander Isak has never been fit so far. Giovanni Leone was ruled out for the entire season. Frimpong has only had an impact in 5 or 6 games. We bought a second goalkeeper for 35 million who barely plays. So we haven't used the 250 million of the 450 million we spent, while our rivals spent 200 million, 300 million, 400 million in adding players to their squad instead of replacing. Again, this is just utter shit from Slot. I mean, honestly, look, Isak. Look, when Isak signed for Liverpool, I wasn't massively in favour of it. Isak is an injury concern. The guy is a bit of a sick note. His injury history ain't great. So I think we probably knew that when we signed him, that we were getting a player that is out a lot and misses a lot of games. Leone, yes, he's unlucky. Frimpong has only had impact in 5 or 6 games. Well, that's how yes, he has been injured at times, Arne, but that's also how you've used him, Arne, as well. And using the Mamalashvili situation, well, yes, you bought a backup goalkeeper. He's not going to play. Of course he's not going to play. Well, this rubbish about only being able to use 250 million. Yeah, but you still had McAllister, Szoboszlai, Konate, Van Dijk, Salah, Gakpo. They still had some very talented players on this team. So I just find this as excuse making. It's all just excuse making from Arne Slot. This whole I was only able. Does that mean that he thinks that other teams have had no injuries this season? That other teams have been able to have their full squads this season? The money that they have spent and have spent in the past that they have been able to use fully this season? Well, Manchester City missing both their centre-backs. Arsenal have had injuries this season. Manchester United have had injuries this season. Chelsea have had injuries this season. So I think this whole argument over because I've had injuries, it's not fair. I haven't been able to use all the players I've had. Is just absolute bollocks and sounds like a big excuse to me from Arne Slot. I just think that, personally speaking, this man is becoming ever more deluded and ever more excuse culture, which is not what we want at the club in the slightest. He is worrying me slightly. And look, the assessment of Arne Slot will take place at the end of this season. If Liverpool miss out on Champions League and don't win the Champions League, he has to go. If Liverpool win the FA Cup and miss out on Champions League and lose the Champions League, he has to go. If Liverpool win nothing, he has to go. The only way Arne Slot for me keeps his job is if he wins the Champions League and gets Champions League football through the league as well. That is the only 2 criteria I would allow him to stay at this football club. Otherwise, he has failed spectacularly, and he can make all the excuses he wants about not having this player, not having that player, or about how we've played, how we haven't played in his perceived mind. But fans are not stupid. They see what they see on a weekly basis. The bad style of football, of the him sending out teams not to lose rather than to win games that have cost us points. They see the truth, Arne. They're not stupid. Guys, let me know your thoughts on A, the Champions League draw, B, the injury news and see, of course, what Arne Slot has been saying. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you very soon.